Hello everybody. Today I'm going to do a presentation of self-regulated learning strategies. As you can see, sources are included here. So let's get started. Self-regulated learning strategies have four components. 1. Cognitive strategies. 2. Metacognitive strategies. 3. Motivational strategies. And 4. Behavioral strategies. I'm going to explain them in detail in the next few pages. Let's start off with cognitive strategies. This one divides into three main parts: summarizing, note-taking, and making connections. Summarizing is one of the main strategies in self-regulated learning. It includes selecting the most important information from a text or a lesson and condensing it in one's own words. This is where I think efficiency comes into play, because when students take a piece of information and interpret or summarize it in their own words, it'll make it much easier for them to be able to comprehend that subject, I think. How this can tie in with classroom activities. So there is actually a pretty good classroom activity called jigsaw summaries, where a topic is divided into smaller sections. Each student becomes kind of like an expert on one particular section. They create a summary of that section and then teach their peers when they regroup. Finally, the whole group pieces together all sections like a jigsaw puzzle to form a complete understanding. What it does is it requires students to identify main parts, delete irrelevant details, organize ideas logically, and restate information concisely in their own words. Note taking: it helps students actively process information by selecting, organizing, and rewriting key ideas in their own words. Students can use note taking to identify important information while filtering out irrelevant details, or make connections to prior knowledge of other topics. Speaking of making connections, this is our other component here. So, making connections is a cognitive strategy where learners actively link new information to prior knowledge. So, this can be like what they already know, other concepts, or like real life experiences. These can be personal or social contexts. So, this strategy actually enhances comprehension, information retention, and deeper understanding of the subject that they're learning. So I'm going to explain, I was going to give an example. The example is students can relate new content to familiar context. So I'm going to elaborate this in the next page. So let's say we want to learn some vocabulary about furnitures in English. So instead of looking up definitions of each furniture, we can tape a piece of paper that describes what it means to that furniture. This way, it'll be much more memorable because it's kind of like a visual learning. And, we as babies learned things by visual means. So, this is actually a very good way to make connections to help understanding, because when you think about it, it's actually easier to learn things this way, to learn vocabulary this way, because whenever you pass by a furniture, you're just going to see the definition on that furniture, and it's going to stay on your mind for longer periods of time. Metacognitive strategies. So first of all, I'm going to explain what actually metacognition means. In simple terms, metacognition is understanding your own thinking and learning processes. In other words, it's actually thinking about your thinking. So this also divides into three categories: planning, monitoring, and evaluating one's learning. Here we get to planning. This is where you kind of organize your thoughts, set goals, and make some kind of outline of what you're going to do. So planning includes two main tasks. One, deciding what you need to learn, and two, deciding how you're going to learn that material. monitoring. It refers to evaluating the process of learning or current state of knowledge. It can also mean the process of monitoring one's own mental states to control oneself cognitively. So, generally, questions are asked internally, such as, has this improved my understanding of the task, or what more can I do to improve my efficiency in comprehending this particular task? Evaluating one's learning. It involves reflecting on and assessing how effectively you learn, understand, and apply information. It's kind of like getting to know yourself. It's a self regulation process where learners identify gaps in their knowledge and adjust strategies accordingly. Here we get to motivational strategies. This also divides into three main categories: positive self talk, self reward, and goal orientation. So, positive self talk. So, positive self talk is a powerful motivational strategy for self regulation because it helps you shape your mindset, manage emotions, and stay focused on your goals. And here I explained why it's helpful. One is it reframes challenges because, instead of seeing a task as overwhelming, saying, I can't do this, positive self talk actually reframes it into something more manageable, like I can take this one step at a time. And when you think about this, actually reduces stress and anxiety and helps you kind of stay in control a little bit. And this is, one of the most important parts to be able to stay in control. To boost internal motivation, encouraging language like I'm capable, this effort will pay off, or I can definitely do this. These kinds of things strengthen your internal drive, making it easier to persist even when the task is, extremely hard. Three, sports resilience. When the setbacks happen, or the things that you don't really want to happen, self-talk like mistakes help me learn, or mistakes, you know, help me grow into a better version of myself. These kinds of things keep you from giving up and sports long-term goal pursuit. Self-reward. It refers to a strategy where learners purposefully give themselves a reward after managing to learn something. The learner promises themselves something enjoyable after they finish a goal. This, in return, creates motivation and helps maintain persistence. So, examples for this might be like after completing this exercise, I will treat myself to a coffee, for example. Or if I study 1 hour without distractions, then I'll watch an episode of my favorite show. Goal orientation. Adapting a goal will facilitate self regulated learning. If one has a clear idea of what they want to happen as a result and visualize it on their heads, it'll help them a lot. So, there are two types of goal orientation. One is mastery goal orientation, and the other is performance goal orientation. And I'm going to explain them in detail now. So, mastery goal orientation actually focuses on improving one's own abilities, understanding, and learning for its own sake. Students with this orientation are like intrinsically motivated, embrace challenges, and use feedback for personal growth and measure success by personal progress. Performance goal orientation focuses on demonstrating ability, outperforming others, and gaining external recognition. Students with this orientation are extrinsically motivated, may pursue either showing superiority, or avoiding failure and negative judgments. Behavioral strategies. This divides into three categories: managing time, seeking help, and creating a good study environment. Managing time, it involves the adoption of specific habits and behaviors to effectively utilize time, enhance productivity, and minimize stress. And why it matters: it reduces stress and last minute rushing, and it also improves productivity and learning quality. Seeking help: it's a self regulation strategy where learners recognize when they don't understand something and ask for assistance from teachers, peers, or resources. There are two types of help seeking: instrumental help seeking and executive help seeking. So, instrumental help seeking is asking for clues, examples, or explanations to be able to learn the material. People who actually, you know, do instrumental help seeking, they actually want to learn the material. They want to be able to learn the material. But on the other hand, executive help seeking is asking someone to give the answer or do the task for you, and this is not productive at all. And I wouldn't really recommend executive help seeking. Just avoid it at all costs. It's not fruitful. Creating a good study environment: it is intentionally organizing the physical space around you to support focus, motivation, and effective learning, whether it be reducing distractions, preparing needed materials, or simply choosing a comfortable place to study. By doing this, learners take control of the conditions that affect their performance, which is a key part of self regulated learning. Thank you so much for listening to my presentation.